Hello and welcome back to Sarah's Spare Corner. My name is Sarah. I am the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas as I am a philosophy major. And when I am not poor, I might travel places and I might post about it. So today we are going to watch the worst Halloween film ever made. And by that, I actually mean Halloween franchised worst movie ever made. And it is not Halloween H2O. It is not the reboot with Rob Zombie, and it has nothing to do with even like the newer ones, which I haven't seen them. I don't know what they're like, and no thank you. But anyway, no, we are going to watch the third one, which is called Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This film is one of those films that I really hear nobody talk about, and for a good reason. It is objectively so bad. And we are rewatching this, and I am suffering through this just so that we can talk about why it is so bad. Boy, there's a lot of things. But the thing is I can't remember like all of them. So unfortunately, we're going to have to watch through it, and we're going to have to talk about how bad it is. Okay. Anyway, we're going to switch over now. I'm so not excited for this. I guess there's one more thing I should probably cover. Like, how am I going to judge this film? So we're going to judge this film based on the following: writing, acting, scare factor, because it's a horror film, and believability, I guess, which I already know where I stand on all four of those parameters. So, yikes, let's get into it. Ew. This is crazy that I'm watching this. I suppose before I start, I should just try to clarify what this film is even about. The best way I can describe it is that it is about AI taking over, kind of, but not really. Actually, that's not quite true. It's, I don't even know how to, let's just watch this. It's 1982, by the way. I suppose I should say this. Why was this film made? Actually, no, we'll say that at the end. I'm getting hardcore flashbacks to like when I watched this film for the first time. And, wowza. You know, watching this film kind of makes me feel bad for actors who thought this would have been their big break. Like, oh God, like every actor who's played in a B film or played in like something as cheesy as this, like, rest in peace, my friends. You really thought this would go better, and I'm so sorry. Wow. Can we just I should not be laughing right now. I'm still a little bit sick. Okay, so this is an important plot point that I really didn't think would, matter as much when I was watching this film the first time. Some dude is watching a television set. I guess it's like the BBC or something like that, explaining how apparently the Stonehenge has gone missing. Yep, missing. Believability. So ridiculous. Oh my God. Maybe I don't feel bad for the actors who played in this film. That was awful. Here, we'll rewind. In case you're wondering what he said they're coming and then died. Okay. We are about to be introduced to the world's worst character in any horror film ever made. Okay. Well, I remember having a different experience when I watched this film the first time. All right, so let's look at the mother, okay? The way they have her dressed up is as if she is training to be a nun, or she is a Mormon woman, okay? Now, I remember the first time watching this being like, they're trying to portray him as like a good father figure. But actually, in this scene, they portray him as a very bad father figure. So at least he's like nothing more than what he actually is, portrayed with his family. So he gets them masks, okay? And they hate it because those are not the masks they wanted. Mom, instead, got the mask they already wanted, okay? And now he's like, oh, I'm getting a call, I have to go in. And she is like, as usual. Definitely seeing this differently, at least their dynamic differently than I did in the first time. The first time I watched this, I thought, why are they portraying him as a good father figure? They're not. I just was, I guess, half paying attention. But it really informs the rest of the film. That's why I'm bringing it up. So we'll just wait. I just realized something. So the man's dead. He's here in the hospital. The dude was called in. He's a doctor, right? Okay. Here's what didn't make sense. Are you gonna come up? Good kitty. The police officer was there. Didn't get any more information from the person who found the body. Okay. And just walked away. Didn't get any more eyewitness, events and stuff like that. Wow. The acting here is... Oh, the acting on everybody here. Jeez. Watch this. This was like a kind of moment. She married you, Angus, and then slaps her butt. Okay, first of all, workplace sexual harassment, even if she was fine with it. Where is HR? Okay. Oh no, some dude in the hospital's watching them. That blood looked like paste. This film's so bad. And he wipes it on the curtains. Why do you wipe it off your gloves? Brother wore gloves, okay, to conceal the fact that he killed that guy, sure, and wipe the blood off the curtains. And then the nurse sees him, and he doesn't even care, and just leaves. What is the point of all that? I'm gonna have to watch this film at a different point at some point, because this film is like an hour and 30 minutes. I'm only 14 minutes in, and I have to go to work in like 40 minutes, and the guy just disappears. Oh, right, now I remember, he sets himself on fire. That's why I didn't care the nurse saw him. Maybe not AI, but robots or something like that. You know what's funny is I just found out that the woman that, I thought he was married to is actually, they're divorced. To be fair, the first time I was watching this, I wasn't actually listening to the dialogue because I was with somebody and we were just chatting the entire time because we were both like, wow, this film is a dud, like instantly. Okay, so, but why are they... it's not uncommon for films to point out that someone is divorced, but the way that they're addressing it here is almost like, hey, by the way, I'm about to do something, but you can't judge me for it because we're divorced. Now, here's where this film kind of takes a direction where you're kind of like, who wrote this? I know it was John Carpenter, but bro, what? Because here's why. At this point, he's no longer a doctor. He is a detective. And not one that is appointed. He's self-appointed. So throughout the entire rest of this film, he no longer is even doing his practice. This very big practice that he's the head doctor for and probably has to be there 24/7. But no, he's able to leave, even leave his family and his kids to go and, live out his childhood dream of doing detective work. His brother pulls in a favor with her to be like, look into this because this is wrong. And she's like, this really bothers you. He's like, it's the first time that someone has done anything like that. I mean, yeah, because that's weird and totally get that got to you. I'm not discrediting that. But also, I feel like I'm watching a different version because I'm pretty sure I remember him making out with that corner. But maybe I just made that up. I don't know. Halloween, they're plugging in their own movie and their own movie. Okay, the reason why I haven't said much in the last 10 minutes is because this is that was just boring. Everything that just happened, very boring. I have nothing to say except that it was boring and I lost interest. Okay, so now we're about to get our sidekick character. This is Ellie. She's the daughter of the dude who just died. And I guess she's following him now because she also wants to know what happened to her dad. His brother just straight up died. Lied, I should say. Why would anyone want to kill Papa? So you kind of get the notion that our character is supposed to be very young, possibly still in her teens or late teens or early 20s. She's a young woman, especially even though she might be an older actress. The usage of the word papa kind of makes you think you're a quite young woman. So I would say that he is almost old enough to be her dad in a way. That or he just aged really bad. Okay, so the only thing you know is that she's living in LA. She says, I'm not going back until I find out what's going on with my father. So I guess because he is such a civil servant, he's decided to sign up and help. More lying to his ex-wife. No wonder she left him. I can't remember the name of the hotel. Man, and this dude is just a horrible human being. She said, I want to know why they put this factory out in the middle of nowhere. There are tons of factories out in the middle of nowhere. Bad writing. Bad. Or maybe he could have responded with, actually, that's pretty normal because he's much older and he would have known that. Every single one of these people is sus. Every single one. They have strict surveillance in this town. That's crazy. All right, here's the thing. I know that this town is a settler town that was once Irish. But the chances of them still holding their lingering Irish accent it's possible, like, especially if you're in a secluded community that only speaks with that dialect. But language evolves, so there wouldn't have been a very strict Irish accent. There probably would have been, like, some influxes that would be slightly different. Think of, like, the Newfies in Newfoundland. They still have a kind of Irish-ish accent, but they still also have their own unique accent. This dude is just straight Irish accent. He acts like a stereotypical Irish that people would mimic what Irish people do. That's his style of acting. Goes in the street. Classic way to show that a kid is a brat instantly. Okay, I find it very strange that after they arrive, 2 different buyers show up. Like, if you're going to put this town gets like a lot of buyers. First of all, the citizens shouldn't be so sus. Second of all, the way that these buyers should been introduced, some of them should have just been already there. Like, they were already staying there, or they just arrived before he did. It doesn't make sense that just as he arrives, 2 other buyers show up, like, one after another. It's just, the believability is not there. I hate it. Ew. Their relationship is just... He's like, maybe I should sleep on the car, so you don't feel so uncomfortable. Even though, that would have been sus, but sure, whatever. Because he was just saying, oh, well, wouldn't it be suspicious if we got 2 different rooms? It'd be just as suspicious as you'd sleep in your car. Also, he's like, well, whatever makes you feel comfortable. And then she pauses and she's like, well, whatever would make you feel more comfortable, doctor. Ew, what? Ew. Ew. Curfew at 6 o'clock in this town. Great. I'm just gonna say it though. She's young enough that could have been her first time. Just saying. Oh, a cat is out past 6 o'clock. The hell? His brother comes out from the corner and he's like, oh, I saw that bottle. Looks really heavy. Do you mind if I have a drink? I don't have any disease. And then he just hands over the bottle for the other dude to take a swig from. That guy's gonna die. It's saying too many obscenities about the company. Company is obviously very evil. Here is like a failure with film, and I don't think it's just this film. Legacy the Craft did that, for example. They revealed their villain way too early. Now, in some cases, it kind of works. Like Marvel Comics, for example. Certain characters are going to be villains because of the way they're introduced or something like that. But they're given a background story over the course of the entire film, which makes the villain either a little bit more hardy or you can empathize with it. When it comes to pure evil villains, for example, it's not good to introduce them right away. Think about it this way. The evil stepmother in Snow White, the original one, the cartoon, they do introduce her as a vain woman. But over the course of the film, you realize that she's a lot more evil than like when you first meet her, right? Like between exiling Snow White and trying to have her killed. And then when that didn't work, used a potion, made herself really ugly, and used a poison apple to kill her. Like, there was a growth with the villain. Whereas when it's like a bad villain who's just objectively bad, the only time it works, I think, is in the case of Michael Myers, but that's because they've had several films to kind of develop his story. In some cases go off the deep end, like the Antichrist film. That was wild. But with films that are supposed to be scary or whatever, it's not strong when you already know the company is a bad company. And like for whatever method they use to make their plan go forth, you don't really care. You're like, yeah, I expected nothing more from you guys. I think the only thing they tried to go with in this film, when they, reveal the villain of this film, is by going into how they're evil. But like, you already know they're evil, so you don't really care how they're evil. Which in some cases doesn't always, it's not always a winner. Like, for example, you don't always need to see how the serial killer kills their victims to know that the serial killer is a serial killer. But in some cases, it could also be going back to what I said about the method, right? The method in which they made the villains in this film villains is just not interesting at all. I really love poking out the eyes. I'm sorry, I can't show you that, but that was crazy. The way that guy just died. Again, with villains, you don't really care if it's just an evil company and that's it. I think I remember this. Because she removed the tag, now she's going to be haunted, I think. I kind of remember what happens here. I don't think I'm going to watch it. Well, I am going to watch it, but I'm not going to watch it while having my soup, my friend. Please stop. No, please stop. I'm just going to skip over this. This excerpt that I didn't care about. Let's get to the rest of this film that I'm so dying to know about. Yeah, I know it was the 60s. I know it was a different time. I know that even in 2025, we're having this discussion of appropriate age relationships. Okay? That being said, ew, she is way too young. And he has children who probably is 5 years younger than her. Yeah, I'm not going to eat while I'm watching this. I have a bowl of soup. I'm not going to have it while I watch this because I know it's going to be something stupid and probably grotesque. Stupid and grotesque is the perfect way to describe that. Also, I feel sick now because I hate spiders and I don't care what size they are. Ew. So I'm going to put my soup off to the side. But boy, was it stupid! I gotta stop laughing. I'm still sick. Look at that. Robot doctors sleeping and separate. They should have done that from the very beginning. Now he's asking, oh my god, the coroner, if she can look into people. You're doctors! You're not detectives! Some serious dinners. So he's saying some flirty things to her. Oh, he's being bugged, of course. Meanwhile, he's sleeping with a teenager. This guy is disgusting. Okay, so far the acting is, everyone's, except for the main actors, okay? All of the extras, if you will, are just reading the script. They're not acting with the script. They're just, yes, I did see him yesterday. Sure did. Saw him yesterday. Like, there is no love in any of these words. I know they're supposed to be creepy and it was a different time, but boy, brother, you could have put something in that line. Like, you're an extra. This could have, like, gotten you somewhere. Sure did. I saw him yesterday. It could also just be that whoever was in charge of overseeing the way people were acting, the director, whatever, was absolutely failing in this department. Maybe they hated this film. Maybe they made it and they were like, oh my god, now we have to actually do this. Please no. There is absolutely no love for this film. The only person I'm actually getting anything from is Ellie, the girl with the curly hair, which, by the way, her hair looks great here. The 80s really took care of curly hair girlies. But, like, the acting is so rough in this film. Everyone is weird. Well, actually, Cochrane's not that bad, but I think he'll probably get worse as the film goes on. But, like, yikes, you know? Okay, here's the thing. I know this is the 80s. I know this is acting, quote unquote. And I will say, okay, sometimes acting choices are also based on what the director wants you to do. It's not necessarily that it's what you want to do as an actor. But here's what I find fascinating by this, okay? So he's selling it. He's like, oh yeah, like, I really want that kind of thing. When he clearly doesn't, okay? He's like, I'm gonna give you the mask for free. The bro's like, oh, thanks, you know, whatever. Because he's acting. Whereas she's like, why are you pretending we want this? I understand that it could have been a director's choice, but this one is a bad one because the problem is of the believability factor. Again, this film is not leaning in a good direction for that, but for the believability factor, If you want to act in this scene and take it seriously, a real person wouldn't make that face because they probably have some sense of fear here. They wouldn't just be like this is a bold face for her to make. They're in quote unquote enemy territory, okay? When a person is acting on some level of fear, they would be thinking, I don't want to get found out. I don't want to be in trouble. I don't want to get hurt. My dad was killed recently, and we know it's linked to this company. I need to be as secretive as possible so they believe me. And she is outwardly acting bold. She is acting against, I need to be self-preservation here because I don't trust these people. They could kill me too. We literally just saw a body dragged out of its hotel room and they're claiming that they're taking care of her. But then also, why are they involved at all? Which means there's definitely a direct link, which is on one level, just poor writing. On the other hand, in the realm of this universe of this film, you would think as a person, regardless if the script is bad, as a person living in this universe, you'd be like, this company's sus. I need to be as still as possible. I don't need to give out that I'm on to them. Whereas her acting choices here, either it's hers or the director's, or maybe it's a collaborative effort. They're creating her to be way too bold in this moment. If anything, the doctor I don't care about, who's a P word, we're just going to leave it at that. He is acting more like what a regular person would act in this scene. So in terms of believability for this scene, it's not there. It's not interesting. And it's also like, objectively, this film is stupid. Oh my God, you gotta rewind and watch this case. So I just talked about the believability of this scene, right? They ask her, or they're like, are you guys coming with us for the tour? Watch what she does. Oh my God. Bro, let's just watch that one more time. So here she says, we'd love to. Now, on one hand, you could, let's play devil's advocate for a second, okay? We could say that she is not a good actress as a person in this universe, right? So she's saying, we love to, obviously very fake, obviously. But perhaps in this universe, as a person, she is a bad actress, right? And so her saying, we love to, is her trying to, again, play into the character of self-preservation, right? But if it's not, it's just bad acting. But I think it's the first one, okay? We're going to give a little bit of a spareness here, okay? Just here. Nowhere else. One of the richest mans in the country settling in a small town. Yeah, okay. No one's questioning this except for the main characters. Sure, whatever. Look, it's more robot dudes. Papa's car, huh? God. Here's the one thing I don't like about old horror films. And I think a lot of modern films can probably attest to this as well. Oftentimes, there's only one or two characters that has the veil off of their eyes. That's the best way I can describe it. Or the mask off of their eyes or whatever, right? They're seeing things so clearly. And they don't have any reason why. It's not in that they just have high intelligence. They're just clearer minded. And everyone else is so stupid. The couple that goes off in the forest, the character that is high ego. So sure, they may be stupid because they're high ego. There's always a character that is so smart and they have no reason to be that smart. And it's always the person that has been wronged or is about to be wronged, but they'll figure it out. And it's not to say that that's necessarily a bad thing, because you can relate to that. Everyone wants to be, the hero in their own story. But the problem is if we were in reality, okay, that couple, they did notice her running off and all of a sudden those guys surrounding her. They don't really know what that was about, right? But they could have they looked concerned and then they were like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. Really. So you're not going to question the final process room that is off limits. You're not going to question that he's the richest man in the country all of a sudden. You're not going to question why he's in a small town. You're not going to question literally anything. That's the thing about a lot of movies is there's only one or two people that are just so smart and everyone else is super dumb. Even though they might be high-end CEOs, even though they might be doctors or something. They have their own intelligence. But no, in this case, space and the realm of this universe, all of a sudden they have decided to abandon all their critical thinking because the script tells them to. Like, it's poor writing. How the heck can she fit all those clothes in her suitcase like that? So let me guess. She's taken. Oh my gosh, the music makes it worse. Okay, these reckless drivers. Are they driving Ellie? They are. Brother, the phones are cut. Let's be real. You're not gonna get a solid call. Just leave. They definitely would have saw that. He's wearing a white coat. Well, I know Ellie's gonna die for sure. Because in this film, he's the final girl. You know what I find funny? For a company that has cameras everywhere, why are there not cameras in their factories? Just saying. Or maybe they are and we just haven't observed the fact that he's been caught by the cameras and they're watching him right now. Oh no, there's the cameras. I only had cameras in that one hall. All right. Brother, it's an animatronic. He freaked out way too hard over that. Oh, he got caught though. That was so funny. It's a robot. It's a robot. What? His best bet could have been running away so he could find something to remove the head off the robot. Oh, so he punched the stomach of the robot. There's all the cords. Okay, well, you get electrocuted. Be careful. Why is he scared of this? It's robot liquid. What are you shocked about? Oh, God, this movie's so ridiculous. He's so disturbed by that robot. And this is what's weird. I think there must have been a scene that was cut out because we have not seen that robot before. We don't know where she came from. But he acted as if, like he came in and he was like, where is she, kind of thing. As if she was like that robot was talking to them earlier. As if we're supposed to care. So it's also like not even just bad acting, bad writing, whatever. It's also just bad editing. Like, I understand that maybe they were trying to meet their 1 hour and 30 minutes marker, but that scene, like the horrification of him like dealing with robots. Now I get that maybe it's because the 80s and, you know, robots on this level seemed impossible. And so that would have been like, you know, maybe a mild freak out. But his reaction to the old woman is almost as if he spoke to her, as if he had another scene with her at some point. So it's really odd that this one was left in because there's so much like on one hand, there's too much excerpt in some scenes. And then other scenes, there's nothing. Like, you gave me nothing. Oh my God, thank God we only have 40 minutes left. This is also something that I hate about these kind of films. And I can't really blame it too much because, you know, the cliche only exists because of films like this that made it a cliche. Is when the villain in the film decides to reveal all his secrets to the quote-unquote hero of the film, which, by the way, that guy's not a hero, but, like, you know, that's what we've got, I guess. So they decide to reveal all their secrets to this person because for sure we're going to kill him, right? But in reality, that's not how this stuff happens. The villain would just kill you. They don't need to explain their master plan to you. They don't need to... It's all nonsense. That's not how it works in the wild. Like, I mean, I guess it depends on the ego, right? Like, there are serial killers who, like, explain their method. Or there are people that are, like, actually psychotic that will, again, explain their method to the person that they are trying to cause harm to. But most cases... Probably not. They've got too much time on their hands. Like, this guy's what? One of the richest men in the world, the film claims. And also he has time on the busiest day of his schedule where he's about to take over the world to explain to this nobody how he did it. And then he realizes he's surrounded by robots. Listen, I get that this was the 80s and, you know, the believability factor of robots, you know, being that well preserved at this point in time, maybe not that very common. But, like, I feel like any sane person would figure this out. No? Like... You'd be like, yeah, that's not human. And this guy can't tell. I mean, I guess, like, on the level that they sometimes act human, but, like, also, they're just too lifeless. Also, probably just even, like, touching their hand or anything would show you that there's no life. Also, here's the thing, right? There was that car crash at the beginning of the film. If he did his job as a doctor, right? And then they sent the body to the coroner, and the coroner is like, oh, it's just machine parts. Bro. Put one and one together. The coroner told you that there were just machine parts from that person, that robot that exploded, right? And now you're like all of a sudden fighting with these things that seem inhuman and they're impossibly strong. Think about it. Think really hard. Oh my God. Those lines, like, Guy's like, what is this place? He's like, don't you know? Ancient technology. And then he says, a good magician never reveals his secrets. Brother, you're taking him into your lair. And you just said it's ancient technology. What? And I know for a fact you're about to reveal everything. So that line sucked. Whoever wrote that, that was off. Our main guy is so distressed. He's like I can't blame him for that because that was like old school acting. So like, oh my God. Oh my God. This scene is so weird. Like, I can't. I'm gonna skip over it because like, it's nonsense and it's also just disturbing and I don't want to do spiders again. So fast forward and that's his face. Oh my God, that was crazy. Okay, I guess there wasn't spiders in that scene, or if there was, I missed it, but let's explain it quickly, okay? This is where we get to the premise of this film, and boy, is it a doozy. Okay, so this crazy dude, Cochran, all right? He steals a piece of Stonehenge at the beginning of the film. He's the one who did it, okay? And they're mining pieces of rock from Stonehenge because it's ancient spiritualism, okay? And pieces of these rocks go into the chips that they put on these shamrock buttons that are their trademark that goes on all of the masks, okay? Those are triggered by the advertisement where it's like, yeah, the entire film, right? There is a triggering factor in that advertisement that sets off the barcode on the tags, which will then melt the child's face, okay? And then out comes all living creepy creatures. Snakes, spiders, mice, maybe, whatever else, right? So child's dead, then the snakes, spiders, whatever, will then attack whoever else is in the room. So basically they're going to do a mass killing. And that is the premise of this evil film. Also, he built robots to protect. You can't make this stuff up. Like, was someone like, yo, let's roll a joint? And then they came up with an idea. And so now everyone's getting masks because, you know, their advertisements are off the chain. And they're showing everybody in every major states in the United States, all across the United States. Everyone has a mask. Everyone. Every child. Not one kid is missed. Yeah, and then they're saying, hurry home. So here's also a thing that's wild, okay? Main protagonist, our brother, all right? Instead of thinking, I need to get home to save my kids' lives, he's gonna do not that. There we go. Now one of the robots is gonna kill her because she found out, you know, one of them is a robot. Now, how is he gonna kill her? He's gonna take a drill? Okay. Cool. I don't remember if they even showed this or not, but to be fair, I think I remember watching this and like kind of not watching. I'm gonna turn down the sound though, because this like shrill is making me annoyed. Music shrill, I should say. They used a lot of synth to like emphasize the robots in this film, but like, are you gonna realize now it's a robot? Oh, there we go. I mean, whoever's on the other side of the phone would have heard that. So, you know, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so they didn't really show it, but like still. I feel like I want to watch this film on like 2x speed just so I can finish it. Like, I'm not having a good time, friends. I think that he's trying to explain like what Halloween is. Something to do with like the Irish, but like he don't have an Irish accent. He has like a mild English accent. Oh, here we go. Season of the Witch. Okay, so I guess I missed this the first time I watched this. So basically brother just admitted that he's technically a modern witch. But he's not like what you think of, like, you know how we just watched The Craft and there's a little bit more color in talks of witchcraft. This brother is talking about stereotypical witchcraft where they do sacrifices, to which he named animals and children. And he said it's just part of the game, bruh, probably, basically is what he said. So that is his reasoning for doing this. Cool. Such nonsense. Okay, so he says that the reason why they're doing this is because the stars have decided that it's time to do sacrifices again. And they are now in alignment to show that it's time to do the sacrifices once more. So now he's making him watch everything that's about to unfold. But I think on television, that's like Halloween playing in the background, like the original film. Your mother. They're playing a Halloween song here. Don't decimate the song with this awful film, John Carpenter. Come on. Yeah, that's the original Halloween playing in the background. Brother, you don't need to keep plugging your OG film. Like, maybe that was the only way. He's like, I know this film's bad. I gotta plug my OG film so that people remember that I did both. This isn't the only version of me. Please don't remember this film. I wonder how many people went to the theaters when this came out and were just shocked. Like, I thought I was watching a Michael Myers film. Like, I just wonder how many people were so confused, especially since this is titled Halloween 3. Oh, he used glass to cut that. I was like, what did he use? Oh my God. We have to rewind that because that was wild. Watch this. Like, I can't just like think, you know, the kind of trajectory you would need. Like, ridiculous. This hero is too OP. Like, he doesn't have anything special about him. He's just a doctor who was a bad husband, who abandoned his kids, and, like, you know, is a P word. Like, this guy is objectively not a hero. And yet somehow they just made him OP. Like, I would be more interested in the final girl trope again. Like, you know, something they didn't clarify throughout this entire film is why it's so important for kids to watch television, right? With their mask. And he just revealed something this late in the film, that there's a big giveaway. So they could have said something like the entire time, if you buy a mask, you're entered into this big draw. You and your family could blank. Make sure you wear the mask though. Like, they didn't do that. Again, like, scripts that could have been better than half of the script of this own film. Like, this entire film. You're gonna be attacked by a robot again? Bro, surplused way too hard. Because, like, after all your masks explode on children's faces, I don't think anyone would be buying one of these ever again. Like, who are you calling? Okay, he's talking to his wife. This brother decided to finally be a dad, even though he's abandoned his children the entire film. Here's the thing, is if it wasn't for his failure as a literal human being, because he's a failure as a literal human being, or at least as a father, okay? As a father, if you were to explain this to your ex-wife, she'd still think you were crazy, but she'd be like, sure, man, like, if you think that you don't want your children to wear that, I don't know why, but we're just not gonna do it. You know, like, even if you're crazy, we won't do it for your comfort. But nah. Now he's expecting her to fall in line, and you're supposed to be rooting for him because he's the main protagonist of this film. But the honest truth is I don't want to. Like, here's another thing that could happen, right? You know how we bought those really cheapo masks that not the kids wanted, right? They're mad at their dad. Oh, dad, you didn't buy us the mask we wanted, but it's okay because mom got us the mask anyway. Think about it this way. If he was a better dad, those kids might have been like, you know what, dad? I didn't like the masks. I think they're kind of silly and they're not as popular as like what everyone else wants, but they're from you, and so I appreciate it. And you know what, mom? Like, even though you got us the mask that we really wanted, dad bought us these masks, and so I think we should wear these. Like, that probably would have happened if he wasn't such a failure as a dad. So if anything, this is his fault. Oh God, this is so ridiculous. Oh my goodness, that's so obvious. I know they're just robots, but they would have noticed that. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm watching, like, the kind of music that's playing right now reminds me of Logan's Run, like the original film. Although it actually worked for Logan's Run. This film, it's not really working for it. Brother, don't touch that. A woman, like, blew off her face touching that. Okay, just in case you need a reminder. This guy's supposed to be a doctor, okay? A family doctor, all right? He's not a detective. He's not a police officer. He's not Superman. He is a doctor. This brother makes me mad. The writing makes me mad. You're telling me none of these robots notice. None of them turn around. How did you know what to press? How did he know what to press? He got lucky, though. Because, like, they could be exploding in his hands. But no, it just so happened to be right in the region of that. Like, how did he not die? Also, like, well, now what? Does a dragon come out? Like... Oh no, the Stonehenge is mad. Oh, what is going on here? What is this nonsense? Brother's like, well played. Okay, now what? Now what do we get out of this? Okay? Oh, he dies. Okay. Did he just turn into salt? Oh no, he incinerated. All right, all the masks are on fire. Okay, great. Everything's blowing up. The factory's on fire. Okay, great. I remember this. She's actually dead. She was stuffed with machine parts. I feel like I see her hand. Yeah, so her arm came off because she's a robot. It's so ridiculous. Gosh, I can't wait till this film is done. Oh my gosh. Ridiculous. So ridiculous. Also, it doesn't make any sense. Unless, like... Okay, here's things that don't make sense about when robot films do things like this, okay? Unless in each part of the body, a hand, a foot, whatever, there is an individual cell that is also programmed, it wouldn't make sense that a robot is able to control the rest of its parts when it's been severed, like a human brain, right? Unless when they are, you know, a robot is telling its left arm to move, it's a frequency. So it's more like in the air outside of their body. So that's more metaphysical of a robot. But in this instance, I don't think that's the case. So this is just poor writing. It doesn't make sense. Are we supposed to be terrified that he was just attacked by a robot? Like, maybe this was scary in the 80s, and then this just did not age well. Like, maybe that's what happened. But here's the thing. I think at this point, we have to assume either one or two things. First of which is, Ellie was a robot the entire time. Or two, they killed Ellie and made a robot of her. I think it's the second one, but like the first one sounds more interesting. Try explaining that. Here we go. Okay, so they're making it seem like he actually got to these networks. Okay, some of them. How would he reach these big companies? Like, and that is the end of this film. Oh boy, we've got to talk. So this film made 1982, okay? Same dude who made all the other Halloween films, John Carpenter, okay? Let's see if we can pull up some facts about this film. So this Reddit post says that the anthology concept wasn't John Carpenter's brainchild. He was essentially a director for hire, but was given free rein artistically because he was somewhat a hot director off the relative success of Assault on Precinct 13. I believe the anthology concept was the idea of a producer, Irwin Yablans, who came up with the idea for the first movie. As far as I know, Carpenter had no vision for the anthology successors and really wasn't terribly concerned about the direction of the franchise in general. So this one was written by United States OD on the horror subreddit. What this one, Screen Rant, says why John Carpenter wishes Halloween 3 Season of the Witch was a hit. This was written in 2020. He wished it was a hit? What did he say here? I don't think Halloween 3 gets the love it deserves. Oh my god, who thinks this film needs love? Like, Carpenter says that's correct. It didn't, but I wish it had been because we could start telling other stories. People want to see Michael Myers once again, so there you go. The Halloween movie that I love the most is the one I made back in 1978, the one I directed. Others were people's visions. That's the way it goes, and that's what happens when you give up. I don't want to direct sequels. I didn't think there was a story left, but boy, was I wrong, huh? Was in favor of this film? That's crazy. This film is so bad. Honestly, I don't even know why it has the score that it has. It has 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb. I feel like this should be straight up a 0. Like, this film is so bad. Listen, I know the concept of Michael Myers wasn't the best concept, but it was interesting. And also, it has a flair to it, you know? There's aspects of those films that are still seen in horror today, or what horror wish it was, right? Season of the Witch is a horror of horror films. It's just, like, shocking that this is part of the genre. Like, that's how bad it is. So we're going to go over the 4 things I was going to rate it on. I was going to rate it on acting, writing, believability, and scare. Starting with scare, it's not scary. It might be annoying and disturbing, but not in a disturbing way that you want a horror film to be. It's just disturbing in a way where you're like, ew. That's the way best way I can describe it. Believability, no. Again, I know this is in the context of the 1980s, and that's almost 50 years ago, but I don't care. Objectively, so bad. Like, the believability of this film is insane. There is nothing there that seems realistic. And I've called it out throughout this entire video that you're watching right now. So I don't think I need to go over it again necessarily, but I didn't go away being like, oh, you know, like a lot of horror films, the whole point of it is to relate to you on some level about your own psyche or relate to you about something that could happen. Now, I understand that a lot of people in the 80s were really worried of where technology was going. And don't worry, and I know that people are still worried now of where technology is going. But this film uses the most ridiculous cliches to explain how we got there. And that's why this film is just objectively bad, okay? In terms of writing, no. There's a lot of contradictions. There's a lot of things that were written in the script that didn't make sense. There were lines that were bland. There wasn't, the entire first portion of this film was so boring. I had no interest. And also they objectively hurt their own characters by making half the characters stupid, making the other characters with very poor backstories, and also making the main character just a P word. Like, nobody in this film is objectively rectifiable. And maybe that's the point, is that everyone is bad, but that wasn't the essence of this story, okay? It was basically machines are bad, be careful. So no. And then finally, acting. There were some scenes that were okay for acting, but overall it was so this film is just bad. It's just bad on so many levels. Don't ever waste your time watching this. I watched this film just so I could review this for my YouTube channel to tell you that it's that bad. Please don't ever watch this film. Don't ever think that you're in for a treat, because you're definitely not. If you're gonna watch any Halloween films, let it be not this one. In fact, never speak of this one with anybody. Unless you want to write a comment down below. Leave a comment down below if you want to talk about this. Or if you thought about my thoughts on this film, leave a like or a comment. Tell me if I'm exactly wrong. Say this is your favorite Halloween film and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But either way, thank you so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, my name is Sarah. I'm the host of Sarah's Spare Corner. Sarah's Spare Corner encompasses gaming, as well as arts, crafts, and various different forms of creativity. Additionally, I like sharing theories, concepts, and ideas, as I am a philosophy major, and when I'm not poor, I might travel places and I might post about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this film, and I hope that whenever you're watching this, whether morning, afternoon, whatever, that you have a lovely morning, afternoon, whatever, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye now.